where's my notes? Oh, that may be slightly off course here, but a couple of things. One is we're talking about secrets and stuff. A lot of stuff gets classified secret or whatever just because you've got a stamp there and you have to do something with it. You know, it's not...
They've gone wild.
Yeah, you just stamp everything.
They've gone mad.
It gets filed away and then it has to get declassified. You know, it's just routine, stamp every day.
The Navy keeps secrets from the Army. The Army keeps secrets from the Air Force.
Yeah.
FBI keeps secrets from the CIA, and that all led to 9/11.
Yeah.
That's where the secrecy leads, to disasters like that.
Yeah, they don't. And the thing is someone needs to be an interface between all these different groups and try and help them to communicate with each other while respecting their own boundaries. So,
and are you willing to agree with me that you were one of those people that kind of crossed some of those lines between various agencies?
Yes. So my customers were the whole spectrum.
Which is why you kind of have the level of knowledge about the overall big picture.
That's why I'm a big picture person and always a general person and not focused in one area. And I didn't ask for it, believe me, it just happens. You know, you just get a phone call and you're just, nothing happens. All of a sudden a phone call and, would you like a job? Yes. Okay. What is it? Well, you just have to be patient and find out. That's that kind of thing. The other thing is people, at some levels, people are saying that the governments, like the presidents or whatever, or the leaders of the country, should release these secrets. But they haven't had access to this information. They get the tours of certain things, but it's very limited, and they get to see blinking lights or whatever, like, you know, and that's as far as it goes, as far as I've ever been aware.
Arthur, the incident involving President Carter some years ago, where the President of the United States was told by the Director of Central Intelligence, Mr. President, you don't have a high enough security classification for us to tell you all this information. And sir, you don't have a need to know. Now, who was the Director of Central Intelligence at that moment? George Herbert Walker Bush, who became president. That's how damn bad it's become over the years. That's how corrosive secrecy can be, not merely to the human soul, but to the constitutional system of government. It's corrosive as hell, and it's got to stop, and I know you agree with me.
Yes, the fear thing's got to stop, and we need to alleviate the fear for people. Because all of these things, most of the things that you see in the press are just created and planned long ago, fictitious enemies. They're enemies, but a lot of them are manufactured, and some of them aren't even real. Okay, and there's a long list, and they're almost at the end of their list. They're at the very end of their list now. Good timing.
Right.
And so there's nothing else to no more rabbits to pull out of the hat.
Wait a second. I want to actually say, what was your level of clearance? Because his was cosmic top secret.
Because that's a NATO.
That's NATO.
NATO's highest clearance.
Okay.
And there are levels above that. There are Q clearances above that.
You had a Q.
My first one was a Q clearance with certain letters.
Special access programs.
Yeah, but it was a Q clearance, and that was through the Department of Energy. It was Energy Research and Development Agency. Before that was the Atomic Energy Commission. And they keep changing the name, then you have to keep reprinting the paperwork and everything. I don't know why. But yeah, it was a Q clearance, and then it went to, basically from there, it varied, went up and down, from secret up to top secret, and over a period of 30 years or more. And then it ended up with top secret, SCI, and then top secret with a bunch of letters, which I still, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But it was basically...
You're not sure if you can say what...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
I would like to ask, because this is sort of meant to be a future talk, as it were.
Yeah.
I fully understand and agree with you when you talk about the agenda of hyping up fear in order to make people more easily controllable. But let's ask the three of you, what is worth being concerned about and what is a distraction? What should we be focused on as issues for the human race in the next few years, and what just is something that is a misdirect, like the magician on the stage, that we shouldn't even be worried about, but they're trying to get us to think that way? How can you separate these things out for people? This is a really important opportunity to make a statement.
Alfred probably is best qualified to answer that.
Well, as a general answer to that, I would say that anything associated with the permanent war economy, which is an economy based on the manipulation of the dialectic of enemies, is a fundamental distraction, so that the entirety of the arms race, the entirety of the strategic balance of forces using threat of war is a distraction.
So don't fall for the war rhetoric.
Right.
Right.
And number two, the area that these gentlemen have worked in, I think, is the cutting edge of human consciousness moving to the next level. And that is...
I think it's you're working in the area of human consciousness, but...
Well, no, but understanding that an extraterrestrial presence is just not an abstraction, but rather it's a human race very much like our own.
It's an extension of our family.
Yeah, that lives under the surface of Mars, with whom our secret government now has contact. And so we have rights, we have inherent rights, in the same way, I think, under natural law, which will invoke that, they were expressed in the Declaration of Independence of the U.S., they were expressed in the U.S. Constitution, the Canadian Charter of Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, various documents in our terrestrial human culture, and those include rights as sovereign citizens in the universe. Therefore, if our governments are now engaged in long-term, I mean, these things go back at least 20 or 30 years, and that's just from people who I talked to.
Treaties.
Yeah, I have to remind you that when the governments, it's not the president or down, or the queen and down. It's agencies
above
that.
Yes.
So you can't blame the governments that we normally call governments.
No, sure. But whether or not they are supra-governments, they are still subject to natural law and universal law. And they can be hauled before a court, empowered under natural law to stand trial for war crimes. But we don't want to go that direction. The direction that we want to go is to have that secret world become transparent and integrate with our world, for which we have an inherent right under natural law.
Bob, you had your hand raised. You wanted to say something?
I simply must apologize that I had an appointment I accepted for an interview in about 5 minutes. And I do want to say I'm sorry, but I will have to take leave of you illustrious personalities here for a while. You know, I have to go. I'm sorry, Carrie.
Okay, it's okay. Is there anything you want to say before you leave, Bob, about, you know, the end of secrecy and the beginning of what's coming next? Because just as I went to get you today, you were addressing a group and you said there's going to be in the next 12 to 18 months some things that people need to prepare for.
Well, the gentleman I was talking to is an economist and a bit of a banker. And he's been looking at the statistics, the data, and he's been watching what's been going on the world markets. And he's troubled by what he sees. And he's convinced that we're not out of the woods yet on this economic thing. And he asked me, what did I honestly think the next year or so have coming? And I said, as I said yesterday, we're in for some bad times. We have not seen the worst of it yet. And I hate to tell you that, but that's true. We